Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Congregation. And to all you mothers, happy Mother's Day. So my name is Laurel Leifert, and I serve as the minister of this curious, passionate, caring, justice-loving community of seekers. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. And Namakwa is an intentionally inclusive community. We believe that all people are worthy of love and all are welcome here. We are a people who know we don't need to think alike to love alike. So whether you come today with joy in your heart or fear and tears, you are very welcome here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome. So are there any first-time visitors? In which case, if you feel courageous enough, maybe raise your hand or at least type your name into the chat box with your email so that we can reach out to you. This is a very special congregation, and I know that Chad's folks are here. So a special welcome to you hailing from Irvine, Southern California. Is there anybody else who's here for the first time? I don't see any hands. Well, you old timers are most welcome here too. So I hope that you consider Namakwa your home. You know, we're still in the time of the pandemic for a couple more months now. So we continue to do the best that we can, and we meet virtually each Sunday. We have meetings on Zoom. And I'm happy to see all of you continuing to gather on Sundays together. And one of these days, we will be together again in the sanctuary. And for those of you who are out of state, we will also still have our Zoom. So we're working hard on figuring out how to do hybrid services. So Doug Stewart is our Zoomer for today. So thank you, Doug. And he will be recording the service. And then Margot, our administrator, will post it on our website. And so Doug is going to keep your microphones muted because the voice quality is better then, but you'll have a chance to unmute and speak out loud during our joys and sorrows, and then at the end of the service for our virtual coffee hour. So once again, welcome one and all. And so Chad will read the words for our chalice lighting today.
Good morning. This is by Claudine or Deanne Oliva. We light this chalice for mothers and mothering to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, baby, child, or youth into adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy to the growth of others in this world. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear this flame of love. Come, let us worship together. I want to invite you to recite the congregational affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
And now our opening song, it's actually number 155 in the hymnal. It's called Circle Round for Freedom. And feel free to sing along with your mic muted.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, Circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
I invite you into a centering prayer and moment of silence. In honor of Mother's Day today, this is a prayer by Victoria Weinstein. We reflect in thanksgiving for this day, for all those whose lives have nurtured ours, the life-giving ones who heal with their presence, who listen with sympathy, who give wise advice, but only when asked for it. We are grateful for all those who have mothered us, who have held us gently in times of sorrow, who celebrated with us our triumphs, no matter how small, who noticed when we changed and grew, who praised us for taking risks, who took genuine pride in our success, and who expressed genuine compassion when we did not succeed. On this day that honors mothers, let us honor all mothers, men and women, all people alike, who from somewhere in their being have freely and wholeheartedly given life and sustenance and vision to us. Dear God, mother, father, parent, beloved co-creator of us all, grant us life-giving ways, strength for birthing, and a nurturing spirit, that we may take attentive care of our world, our communities, and those precious beings entrusted to us by biology or by destiny or by friendship, fellowship, or fate. Give us the heart of a mother today. Amen. And now let's just conspire together. Just breathe easily. I'll ring a bell to start us and then ring a bell when it's time to come back. And you're welcome to close your eyes if you'd like. And now for his second Sunday with us, take it away, Claire, our ministerial intern.
Today, we're going to read this incredible book, Louis I, King of the Sheep. And so it was, one windy day, that Louis the sheep thereby became Louis the First, king of the sheep. The first thing Louis the First thought was that to govern, a king should have a scepter. And a throne from which to hand down justice, because justice is rather important. And a grand king's bed where all could behold him as he settled down for the night. Louis I also told himself that a good king should address his people from time to time. Other than that, he would spend his time hunting, chasing after deer, wild boars, and above all, lions. But since there were no lions in his kingdom, he would have them brought to him for his pleasure. He'd also stroll through his royal gardens, which would be tended by only the best gardeners. And Louis I would receive the world's greatest artists at his palace, where they would perform before him and his court. Ambassadors from far and wide would also travel long distances to pay tribute to him, king of the sheep. But first and foremost, Louis I decided he must bring order to his kingdom, so he commanded his people to march behind him in sheep step. Next, Louis I decided that only the sheep who resembled him could live at his side. The others must be driven out. But then, on another windy day, Louis I, king of the sheep, became Louis the sheep once again.
Thank you, Claire and Louis. Well, every Sunday, we know it's
Laurel,
important.
Hey, Laurel, hang on just a second. I've got to figure out how to not spotlight Claire.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. I took it off. We're good.
Oh, thank you much.
Now you're okay. And now we spotlight you.
I think just because I was talking, so take it away.
Okay. Anyway, thanks, Claire. And now we're going to do joys and sorrows. Namaqua has maintained a tradition of actually taking time each Sunday to share our joys and sorrows together. And we've also maintained our tradition of transferring from one bowl to the next a pretty glass pebble. And so I actually want to begin by sharing a joy, which is for all of us. It is our anniversary because it was 10 years ago today, on Mother's Day, that the congregation voted to call me as your minister. And so that has been a true joy. I think I'll put a handful of pebbles in. And thank you all for letting me be your minister. So anyone else who would like to speak, if you could put your name in the chat box and I'll call on you. Atulia put up a message about her teacher, Amma. And so if you want to read that, you'll have Atulia's joy.
Do you want me to read it? Or anyway, I'll read it.
Okay.
I like Mama, which means mother, and many believe she is the embodiment of the Divine Mother. Every day at 6:30 a.m. The atmosphere in the ashram in India changed last week as they're in lockdown with a few cases, and the country, as you know, it's very bad there with COVID. I'd like to pray for them.
Thank you, Atulia. And Janet Gillette has a huge joy.
I do. For Mother's Day, is anyone familiar with Randy Rainbow?
Yeah.
Isn't he? He
He's
he
hilarious.
he writes and sings these political parodies, and he's fantastic. He's amazing. Well, my daughters got together and got me Randy Rainbow for Mother's Day. He yeah, what it is it's a personalized Mother's Day greeting. It said, the kids said, click here and open it up. And I opened it up and it's Randy Rainbow saying, Janet Gillette, the best a man can get. And he goes on from there to talk about what a great singer I am and a great mother and a great beta. And, he just goes into this whole thing. It's just great. It was the best Mother's Day thing I ever got. And then my eldest daughter, Michelle, took me out for brunch and she bought me a rose and planted the rose. And so it's just all really, really exciting. I love it. Yay.
Feeling the love.
Feeling the love.
All
real.
right. So, and thank you for those of you, Shirley, Nicole, and Megan, for putting sweet notes in the chat.
And I second that.
Thank you. And Katie thinks it's really cool because lots of us love Randy Rainbow. And Sally Henry, I love celebrating my birthday today with Mother's Day. Oh, and Sally, you had a big birthday last year and we did a drive-by birthday for you, but I can't believe it was a year ago. So happy birthday and happy Mother's Day to you. And Mim Neal, for the first time in decades, my older son gave me a Mother's Day present and a card. That's really wonderful, Mim. I know how much that means to you. And Chad, I have a joy. I've had the most wonderful time spending time with my family in California. The niece, who's 5, and nephew, 2, have been especially fun to be with. I get to be a kid again. Pool time and pizza. And Mom, he wishes you happy Mother's Day. What a good son, a good uncle. And Atulia would like to hear the thing from Randy Rainbow. So maybe the two of you can connect after this. And Vicki Clark, celebrating my granddaughter's becoming a mom to Mackenzie Joe, which means you are a great grandmother. That is amazing, Vicki. Vicki and Tom. And then Tracy says, I have a joy being a mother to my beautiful daughter, Sadie, and granddaughters, Oberon, and Talisman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those right. Talisin. All right. So to mothers everywhere. And Janin is grateful to be a mom and for all the people who have nurtured me. I'm also grateful to be part of Namakwa and to have me for a minister. Well, back at you. Janin, we're happy to have you for our Director of Religious Education. And does anybody else have anything to say? Oops. Here we've got Francie, who is praying for mothers who have difficult children. We have 2 close friends who have weathered blow-ups from their sons this past week. So we send out compassion for patience and healing. And then Janet has a little job on Monday and Saturday at a vaccination clinic. Yay. So anybody else? So as always, I'll put in a couple of extras. There may be people in our community who aren't with us today who have joys and sorrows. And even some of you who are here today might have perhaps a sorrow that's too tender to share, or maybe you're just feeling shy. So I'll put some in for you as well. And then we're going to use our imagination a lot today. So imagine this time me lighting one candle for the joys beyond our walls, our virtual walls, and the other for the sorrows. Thank you. Wait, oh yeah.
Comfort me,
With me,
comfort me, comfort me. Oh.
There's a terrible curse that plagues guitar players once they reach the intermediate stage. I call it guitar playing limbo. It's
Oh, my soul, comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh, my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
And if you'll now repeat after me, in our joy and in our sorrow, we are not alone. Our offering this quarter is to split our plate with the Loveland Youth Gardeners. We have been connected for many, many years. The Loveland Youth Gardeners empowers youth who are facing challenges and helps them cultivate life work skills, environmental stewardship, and community service. And so participants in the program, which will include Aiden Christensen, grow their own gardens, and they're taught a gardening curriculum that emphasizes sustainable horticultural practices. And so Doug will put a donate button in the chat room. And please be generous as we receive our offering and listen to a song by Issei Barnwell, sung by a choir. But Issei Barnwell is a member, or was a member, of Sweet Honey in the Rock, and just an amazing musician and human being.
Doom, doom, doom.
Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you, and now I need you, and you are gone. So I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have feelings that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember that I was whole. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that made me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. And I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers the sign of eternity. I know a please to thank you and a smile take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I'm not blessed and I'm blessed again and again and again. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own
Repeat after me. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings, to the vision of this congregation, which is to radiate love, peace, and justice, as together we work to build beloved community. Thank you. You know, memories are like the scrapbook of our lives. We remember with our body, with all of our senses, what we were doing, where we were, perhaps who we were with. We remember with our minds what we were thinking, with our hearts what we were feeling. Life's journey is a series of snapshots of our lives, our memories, and when they're pasted together, they help define who we are. And sharing our memories, our stories with others is a way to share life itself. And so as we share here in our community of seekers under our imaginary story tree, I wonder what kind of memories and what kind of stories, the who, what, when, where, why of your lives are in your scrapbook. Stories shape us in so many ways, and when they resonate with our own experience, they tell us something about who we are. When they jolt us into a new perspective, these stories can broaden our sense of the world. And when they share where we've come from, and we pay attention to who's influenced us, they remind us of the truth that we are all part of a larger narrative. And as we work to make sense, to try to understand what scientists study, the relationship between cause and effect, and how we've been shaped as both the changer and the changed, or as Mary Chapin Carpenter put it, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. As Unitarian Universalists, as we sometimes sing, it matters what we do with our lives. And as we dig deeper, both together and by ourselves, asking hard questions, perhaps feeling in limbo as we live into the answers, we are, as Thoreau put it, living deliberately, seeking to have our outer life be in harmony with our values. Then we're living an examined life. And the complexity of this, the dynamic interdependent web of which we are a part, can sometimes be staggering. Here's how Salman Rushdie, the Indian-born British-American novelist, put it in his book, Midnight's Children. Quote, "I no longer want to be anything except who I am. Who? What am I? My answer, I'm the sum total of everything that went before me, of all I have seen, done, been, of everything done to me. I am everyone, everything whose being in the world was affected by mine. I am anything that happens after I'm gone, which would not have happened if I had not come. Nor am I particularly exceptional in this matter. Each I, every one of the now 600 million plus of us, contains a similar multitude. I repeat, to understand me, you'll have to swallow a world. I'll repeat, to understand me, you'll have to swallow a world." Our worship theme this month is story. And as we explore today the dance of fate and freedom, I'd like to invite you this morning to imagine your spiritual autobiography. So some of you have already engaged in this if you took our adult enrichment class called Building Your Own Theology. So to begin, imagine a horizontal line, and on your left side, put an imaginary dot and the date of your birth. And then on your right, put another dot and put a reasonable estimate of the date of your death. And then somewhere in the middle, put a dot that represents where you are today. So I'm 70. Some of you who are younger might be closer to your birth date, and some of you who are older might be closer to a reasonable estimate of your death date. But I think that alone is powerful. Who we are right now, where we are we living an examined life? Next, think about the place where significant things have happened to you. So take a moment and just reflect back on your life. Where are some significant places? And then how about relationships? Think about the 3 or 4 people who've had the greatest impact on your life. Next, how have your experiences shaped how you view yourself and the world? So think of 2 or 3 formative experiences in your life and think about why they're important to you. And some of you may characterize these experiences as being spiritual or religious. Next, what communities, like this one, that could be religious or not, have had a lasting influence on your development? What communities? So as human beings, we're choosing creatures. That's the freedom part. So think of the important decisions that you've made in your life and think about what they mean to you, how it is that you made those choices, and then what was the result of those choices? William Blake said that joy and woe are woven fine. So life, as we know, is made of both joy and sorrow. So think of a few of the happiest experiences of your life and of the saddest experiences of your life. And then finally, a master story. So each of you, whether you know it or not, has what I would call a master story. So a theme that summarizes your life purpose. So what might be a theme for your life so far? And maybe what theological values or beliefs have informed you? A number of years back, I came up with, I guess it's like the mantra of my life. I might have shared it with you before, but it's let the luminous light and dazzling darkness sing songs of love through me. So that's kind of my ministry. Let the luminous light and dazzling darkness sing songs of love through me. So I hope that at least this has planted a few seeds for you perhaps to think about, and we will be offering the Building Your Own Theology class again, probably in the fall. So as you look back this way, consider how your life has been a dance of what might be called fate and freedom. So as you use, we have a diversity of beliefs. Some of us believe in what might be called God, and some of us don't. And some of us just aren't sure. Some of us believe that when we die, we'll be reincarnated. Some believe that nothing happens. Some believe that we may be united or reunited with some type of universal love, or maybe of relatives or people who have gone before us. And some of us just aren't sure. In the words of Iris DeMint, we'll let the mystery be. And when you consider the question of whether life is determined mostly by fate or by free will, there's a similar spectrum of beliefs. And I think that most UUs would consider it a dance between the two, fate and freedom. Now, sometimes people think that UUs can believe anything that we want, but that is absolutely not true. And one thing that is outside of our spectrum, of our nuanced spectrum, would be John Calvin's belief in predestination, that God is omniscient, omnipotent, an absolute monarch upon whom humans are totally dependent. Humans are born with original sin, and God chooses which people go to heaven, the elect, and which people go to hell, the reprobates. And that's true no matter how good a life the reprobates live. And so in the 18th century, both Universalism and Unitarianism that merged together to form Unitarian Universalism in 1961, both of those liberal faiths rejected this notion of the elect and of predestination. They were heretical reactions against Calvinism. The Universalists believe that God is love, and a loving God would not condemn people to hell for eternity. And the Universalists, or the Unitarians, believed that human beings had the capacity to choose to live choosing good or choosing evil, and that humans were intelligent enough to make good choices. This is by salvation by character. And so sometimes people quip that Universalists think that God was too good to damn some to hell, and Unitarians believe that the humans were too good for God to damn everyone to hell. So our UUs, those of us who identify as Unitarian Universalists, don't see our lives as some progressive unfolding of a predetermined pattern, that we're somehow just robots or puppets. And basically this means we don't take the easy way out. We don't avoid responsibility of the consequences of our choices. We don't avoid accountability for our actions and our inactions. So that's why sometimes people call Unitarian Universalism a grown-up religion. We don't take the easy way out. We seek to live lives of integrity, knowing that we do have the power to choose. And you know, when we start our Sunday services with the phrase, "Come, let us worship together," we're not bowing down to some deity. Instead, we are exploring what is of worth. That's what worship means. So we're on a journey together to consider what we value most deeply, and then to align our true values with our actions, to discover what's sacred in our lives, and to consider how we want to relate to that. You know, the fourth Unitarian Universalist principle is to affirm and promote the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So I think that we all understand that there really is something that could be called fate in our lives, things that we can't control, such as our DNA, our genes, where we were born, our family, whether we had enough food, where we went to school, and so on. So these are our givens. This is the fate that we can't control, but neither can we take credit for it. So I think it was back when George W. was our president that I first heard this, that he was born on third base and thought he hit a triple. So he could not really take credit for the privilege that he was born with. So when we think about what's out of our control, so the fate part, and then what we can control, the freedom part, it can't be some kind of blunt, polarized dichotomy. So it's clear that free will also is not distributed equally. So this is some nuance, I think, that's typical of Unitarian Universalists. We don't think usually in black and white, we think in terms of shades of gray. And so people in different cultures and socioeconomic classes are subject to different degrees of restraint and freedom. Our abilities to exercise free will depend on factors such as maturity and health conditions, physical limitations, social restraints, intelligence, education. So an example is that an infant is less free to make choices than a grown-up, or an incarcerated person is less free in their lives to make choices than someone who's living outside of prison. But you know, it's also true that sometimes we might have more freedom than we believe. Because did you know that not everything people believe is true? Have you heard the story about a person who was visiting a circus and passed by the elephants? And they were confused that these huge creatures were being held by only a small rope tied to their front leg. There were no chains, no cages. And to the person walking by, it was obvious that the elephants could break free anytime they wanted to, but for some reason they didn't. And so the person ran into a trainer who asked why these beautiful, magnificent creatures just stood there and made no attempt to get away. Well, the trainer told them that when the elephants were very young and much smaller, they used the same size of rope to tie them. And at that age, it's strong enough to hold them. And then as they grow up, they're conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They believe that the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. So because they didn't believe they could break free, they were stuck right where they were. So I invite you to ponder whether there may be any ropes that you were conditioned to think kept you stuck in a certain place. But the truth is that now you actually do have the ability, the strength, and the power to break free. So much to ponder. I'd like to close with an image that I invite you to enjoy. This is probably not the first or last time that I'll share this image with you. I came across it one day when I was in seminary and I was studying downstairs in the Graduate Theological Union. And I remember being so excited when I read it that I just couldn't stay in my seat. I just stood up and was walking around kind of muttering as I read it. So it was written by one of my very favorite theologians, Rebecca Parker. And it's a description of how process theology pictures the world. And if I needed to label myself, I think I would call myself a process theologian. If you'd like, you can close your eyes as I read this. If you can, picture this whole as a bejeweled net, like an intricate spider web covered with dew, each drop of water reflecting the whole. Picture this web lasting only for an instant. Then it blips out of existence, and in the next instant, it reappears, slightly different. And over time, the net appears to be in motion, shimmering or undulating. And these shimmers are people running, tides moving, comets soaring, grass growing, suns burning, rocks eroding. And in the people running, there are emotions flowing, thoughts forming and passing, things remembered, things forgotten, and all of it is the cosmos in an ever-changing pulsation of becoming and ceasing, becoming and ceasing, becoming and ceasing, becoming and ceasing. The bejeweled net. And so here we are, my friends, co-creators of our world, each moment becoming and ceasing, the dance of fate and freedom. I like the way that one of my mentors, Robert Latham, puts it, that what we do is we are frolicking together in the fields of mystery. Or as in a song that my son Marcus taught me, we are the weavers, we are the woven ones, we are the dreamers, we are the dream. So may it be so. And now, Doug, for our closing song, we have Swimming to the Other Side by Emma's Revolution singer and writer Pat Humphreys. In this case, it is sung by Dan Haidt. Swimming to the Other Side.
We are living neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with arms open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humility I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. And we're all living neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground that we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, finding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me band together and be my guide, loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live forever, and we're still swimming to the other side. We are living neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the streams together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground that we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
And now as Chad reads the words, I'll extinguish our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Oops. Did you notice I
Okay.
used a smaller candle this time? Because last week, the plane that was so big, I was worried. So thank you, Chad, very much. Who am I? If you want to understand me, you'll need to swallow the world. I think to understand any of you, that's also true. We contain multitudes. So next week, we are having Doug and I present a service about Janus, the two faces of beginnings and endings. And then the following week will be Janin presenting a very special service on animals. And after that, this is on May 23rd, we will have our spring congregational meeting. So after the service from 11:30 to 1, we'll gather together, and please make it a point to come because we need a quorum, because we are going to have an election to elect our new leaders for the board, Committee on Shared Ministry, and then also approve the budget for the church year 2021-2022. And then, as you probably read in the email blast that Margot sent out, we are going to have an auction this year, but because of COVID, it's going to be the first ever virtual auction. It will be on June 5th. I think originally it was announced for May 22nd, but we're going to give ourselves a little bit more time. And then there will be two components to it, an online auction and then a live Zoom auction event that will be on that Saturday, June 5th from 7 to 9. So you can read more about it. I'm sure each week from now until then, there will be information about how you can participate in it. So be thinking about some item that you can donate, or sometimes, I mean, fingers crossed, if you offered something in person, that we would be able to abide by the COVID rules as they evolve. It seems like every day, and maybe we could even share a meal together. Or I think that Rebecca and Norma are cooking up something that involves music. So I thank you all for being here today. And what we'll do is have an opportunity to visit in smaller groups with our virtual coffee hours. So Doug, if you want to send us to breakout rooms, and be safe, everyone. I'll see you next week.
That was good. Today is not such a great day, but yeah, I think it's going to be a nice day.